In this video, I will teach you this exact tom pattern that will then help you to be able to play this tom groove, this tom groove, also this tom groove, and pretty much any tom groove that you will need in worship music. What's up, worship drummers? Timothy here from the Worship Drumming Academy. And if you are a beginner or if you're just getting into worship drumming, then this video is exactly for you. In this video, I will teach you the one tom pattern that if you learn and then internalize, that will be then the source of all of the tom grooves that you will be playing. So especially in the beginning, when you are starting out, you don't want to be, learning 10, 15 tom grooves. Instead, what I think is easier is to really get comfortable with one pattern and then learn how to place it around the kit to create different tom grooves. Now let's dive into it. The first thing that I will teach you is that tom pattern. Pretty sure you've already heard that before. It's not anything new, but it's just dun, 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 dun. So before you even move on onto the drum set, you want to make sure that you spend some time on that. Just internalize it, make sure that you can sing it in your head, and then from there you can clap it. And now let's move on to the floor tom, just to give you a little bit of a teaser and taste of what it will sound like. Now, before we even move on to learning the actual tom grooves, what I highly suggest is taking this pattern that you just learned, putting on a worship song, and just playing that while listening to the worship song. Now, after you get comfortable with that pattern, let's jump into the first tom groove. This one is going to be very simple, and we're gonna play the exact same notes of the pattern, but instead of playing it all on the floor tom, we are going to place the first hit on the kick. So let me demonstrate that. There goes the first tom groove. As you can see, it is very simple, all built on that one pattern. And this particular tom groove you can actually use for a lot of different songs. Often you would use it for maybe verse 2 after verse 1 and chorus doesn't have any drums, maybe chorus has some light ride hits, and then the drums come in for the verse 2. This would be a perfect tom groove that you can play there. I will play it again at a slower tempo so that you can play it along with me. Now, before we dive even further, I just want to let you know that I created a special link for you where I have all of these tom grooves put into the tutorial software that I use on the Worship Drumming Academy. And in there, you can loop any part, you can slow it down, add a count in, metronome. There will also be the notations, and it just makes it a lot easier to practice these two. Make sure to get the link in the description, and that way you can really put the practice in. Let's dive into tom groove number 2. It is very similar, still the same level, but we will be playing around with the placement. So instead of placing first hit on the kick and the rest on the floor tom, we will place the second hit on the rack tom. So this would be another tom groove that you could play either in verse 2 or maybe second bridge where you come in, but it's still not anything crazy present. So let me play it for you. That way you get a better idea. So now let me count you in at 75 BPM so that you can play it along with me. again, one pattern, and we're placing it around the kit and creating a bunch of different tom grooves. Now let's jump into the third tom groove that I want to show you today. With this one, we're going to take it up a little bit, and the way we're going to achieve that is by adding another kick. So in these two tom grooves, the kick was only on 1, but now we're going to have the kick on 1 and 3. So we're going to take the same pattern, just keep it on the floor tom, but we're going to have the kick on 1 and 3, and let me demonstrate that at 75 BPM. So hopefully you can hear how, even though it's still the same tom groove, there's a little bit more energy happening there. And this is one of the ways that you can take that pattern and start building on top of it. Now, the next one that you could do is kick, rack tom, floor tom, and then adding a snare. So we have those two kicks in there on 1 and 3. We've established that. Now you can also add a snare. It's gonna have more energy. It's gonna feel a little bit bigger. Now this particular one you could use for maybe verse 3, where there is already more happening with the other instruments. Now let me play it at 75 BPM and I'll count us in. Now I feel like there's a little bit more going on in this one, so I will also slow it down to 40 BPM, and that way it's slow enough where you can really practice it along with me. Now let's say that you want to have a tom groove that you can play in chorus 2. So you want the drums to be a little bit more present and you're not sure what to play. Well, let's take the previous tom groove that we learned and add kicks on all 4 beats. And honestly, I can't even tell you how many worship songs have exactly this tom groove. So let's break it down. I'll first play it at 70 BPM or 75 BPM. I'll count you in and you can play along with me. Now with this tom groove, there is more happening, and so if it's not coming together right away, that is totally normal. There's a little bit more independence going on, making sure that the toms land exactly when and where they're supposed to land. So make sure that you play really slow and don't rush through this one, because if you don't put enough time into it, it will probably sound kind of sloppy. So make sure that you focus exactly on what you're playing and then also how you're playing it. So you want to make it sound as clean as possible. Now let's bring it back to 40 BPM and I'll play it 4 times. Now keep in mind, this is all built on that one tom pattern. Duh, 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 duh. Now we're adding more in there. There are some more kicks, but still the hands are doing basically the exact pattern. So where can we take it from here? We got a chorus, a big chorus tom groove. What if instead of playing the hit on the rack tom, we added a floor tom in there? That could make it sound different. Still same pattern, but we're changing the placement. And then on beat 4 at the end, instead of playing a regular snare hit, we can add a flam, and that will kind of bring it up a little bit more, make it sound slightly different, even though it's exactly the same pattern, but also pretty much the same tom groove we just learned. So let me demonstrate what that would sound like. So you can see what we just did previously was. And now, so very similar. There are two little changes that make it sound different. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna play it at 75 BPM, and that way you can practice along with me. Now, most likely you won't be able to start at 75 BPM, and that is totally fine. And that's why I will now slow it down to 40 BPM, and you can really focus on each of those hits and make sure that you can play it clean. Now, the last tom groove that I want to show you is, again, a very similar variation, and it will sound something like this. Now with this one, hopefully you can tell that it's a little bit more energy, there is more happening. So either this could be an instrumental after a big chorus, or this could be maybe a bridge 3 where things are already starting to build up. And again, variation of what we just did. I will play it at 70 BPM and play it 4 times. Now let me also play it at 40 BPM, that way you can really practice this one. And I assure you there will be times in worship songs where you will play exactly this tom groove, and you will think of this video and the time that you learned it and practiced it. So make it count. It will definitely have its return on the investment you're putting into it. Now, these are definitely not all of the tom grooves that you can create using that one tom pattern, but these are all the ones that I decided to show you and to demonstrate to you. But the bigger idea is that you can create your own ones and you can get really creative with it. So instead of trying to memorize, specific 10 tom grooves, just memorize this pattern and then think about what situation you are going to play it in. So is it a verse 2 that needs just a little bit of drums, or is it a bridge 4 where there is a lot more happening, or is it a chorus 3 that needs a pretty big tom groove? Think about that and then think about, okay, how can I achieve that? And I think this is especially important in the beginning because it is a little bit more difficult to learn songs exactly the way they are written, because you are just starting to build, your vocabulary of tom grooves, fills, builds, and all of that. And so instead of trying to learn every song exactly the way it is, get really good at understanding dynamics and knowing what is happening in each specific section of the song, and then know what fits in there based on that. So do you want to be blasting a huge tom groove in a small verse section? Probably not. Maybe instead do the do, duh, 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 and it's gonna fit perfectly fine. And so start there, get really comfortable and familiar with it. Take any worship song and try to apply everything that you've learned here to that, and then you will see how you will grow so much faster, and you will really spend your time well on the things that actually matter and not just learning random parts. And so if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to learn more when it comes to church drumming. I post, tutorials, I post lessons like these and a lot of other stuff. And also please let me know in the comments what are some other videos that would really be helpful to you on this journey as a church drummer. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.